We're at the civil hospital where throughout the day ambulances have arrived with a grim delivery of body after body after body. All around us, volunteers who have been working here since the crash. Also, some family and friends of those who died, waiting for their loved ones to be identified so that they can carry out the funeral rites. Some of the families have flown in from the UK. In fact, when we were coming over on our journey, I met a couple on a plane who told me that the very first task they had when they landed was to come here to give a DNA sample. And you can only imagine how distressing that must have been. There are such strong links between Ahmedabad and cities in the UK, social, economic, cultural links. In fact, there never used to be a direct flight from here to the UK, but British Asians helped to lobby for one because of those links, and this story has had a particular resonance. We know that 242 passengers and crew died, and officially we're told on the ground 8 civilians were killed, but people here told me it's likely to be much, much higher, the death toll. I've been speaking to one lady who's angry her search hasn't been acknowledged as she searches for her mum and baby niece. How to describe her anguish? Payal Thakur's mum and 2-year-old niece are missing. Her mum, Suralben Thakur, had been cooking tiffins or lunches for the trainee doctors yesterday with the toddler when the plane came crashing down. This is the last video Payal has of them, and they haven't been seen since. And yet, Mrs. Thakur says, she's had to trawl the hospitals herself with little official help. Our community has no money, no influence, she told me. We can't access the authorities. And in this country of extreme contrasts, that still matters. For 15 years, we've served the doctors here, she cries. It's now time for them to serve my family and help us find them. Hour after hour after hour, ambulances arrive with their grim deliveries, the morgue overwhelmed. Another ambulance has arrived carrying the remains of some of the bodies. Relatives who are waiting here for news have told me of their utter distress. The Dean of the college has revealed that 4 of the students here were killed when the plane crashed into their campus. Their bodies too having to be dealt with in this morgue, and staff having to identify some of their own amongst the hundreds of passengers who died. Many of the relatives here waiting for news have flown in from the UK. This city has close links with communities in London and across the Midlands, including Leicester. Tarukbhai Vora's niece, daughter and sister-in-law were all on the flight back home to London after a holiday here to celebrate a religious festival. Almost beyond belief, this one man somehow survived. Vishwas Kumar Ramesh from Leicester, today visited by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, still unable to understand how and why he walked away. He told reporters he couldn't make sense of it all.
Everything happened in front of my eyes. I can't believe I survived. For some time I thought I was also going to die, but when I opened my eyes, I realized I was alive, and I tried to unbuckle myself from the seat and escape. I saw the air hostess and others die right in front of me. The side of the plane I was on landed on the ground floor of the hostel. I don't know about the other part of the plane, but where I landed was on the ground. I could see that there was space outside the aircraft, but the door broke, so I tried to escape through a little space, and I did. On the opposite side of the plane was the building wall, so nobody could have escaped there. I don't know how I managed it.
How can anyone make sense of what happened here? Across the road from the hospital, they tried to take some comfort in the evening arti, a prayer known as an offering of light in this darkest of times.
Well, tributes have been paid to the Britons feared to have died in the crash. Let's get more from Ria Chatterjee.
Different lives, different stories, that all ended in the same calamity. These are 15 of the British nationals who died on Air India Flight 171. Impromptu vigils are being held across the country. Messages popping up on WhatsApp threads with locations and times.
People in Southall started ringing everyone to find out whether they had relatives who had lost their lives or whether they knew someone who they could help. And there were people from all over Southall, people from the Indian subcontinent, of Pakistani origin, of Indian origin, of Sri Lankan origin. That is the community we are.
For the UK South Asian diaspora, the Air India plane crash feels really close to home. That journey from the UK to India and back again feels so familiar, and that's why it's had a huge impact across multiple generations. Akhil Nanabua, his wife Hana Voraji, and their daughter Sarah were on the flight. Both had successful businesses. Raksha Modha was flying back to London with her 2-year-old grandson. It's believed they were coming for a cremation service for Raksha's late husband. Dr. Pratik Joshi and his wife Dr. Komi Vyas were travelling to the UK to start a new life with their 8-year-old daughter and 2 5-year-old sons. Javed Syed and Mariam Syed were on board with their 2 young children. They'd been on holiday in India. Dhir and Heer Bakshi were returning from a surprise birthday visit to their grandmother. And Fingal and Jamie Greenlaw Meek had been on holiday in India. They ran a wellness centre in Kent.
At the moment, it's so raw, and people don't know where to turn to for help and advice and information. So some of us are trying to make sure that that's available readily. And there's lots of community organisations that we're working with to try and get the messaging out.
It's still sinking in. The shock is still very raw, and it's going to take time.
At a time when so many people feel helpless, community is a lifeline. There's strength to be taken from those who can offer it, and those who need it will do for the rest of their lives.